Welcome to the dark and chilling world of Sinister Diaries, where nightmares come to life and spine-tingling tales unfold. If you dare to face your fears, hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell, because here, the terror never sleeps.
The night was inky black, the kind of darkness that seemed to swallow everything in its path. I was driving alone on a long, desolate highway, the only source of light being my car's headlights, which cut through the void with a narrow beam of illumination. I had just passed a weathered sign that read, "Nowhereville 50 miles. The town's name alone sent a shiver down my spine. There was something undeniably eerie about being out here in the middle of nowhere, surrounded by dense woods that seemed to press in from all sides. It was then that I saw her. A figure standing at the side of the road, a spectral presence in the darkness. Her long, tangled hair danced in the wind, and her tattered clothes clung to her emaciated frame. I couldn't have been the only driver to pass her by, but as I approached, I couldn't help but slow down. Compassion tugged at my heart. What if she was stranded out here with no one to help? I rolled down the window and called out, offering her a ride. She didn't respond at first, her vacant eyes staring into the distance. I called out again, this time with more urgency, and she slowly turned her head to face me. What I saw made my heart skip a beat. Her face was ashen, her cheeks sunken, and her eyes hollow and empty. It was as though she hadn't slept or eaten in days. I couldn't look away, transfixed by the haunting sight of her. With a slow, deliberate movement, she climbed into the back seat of my car, her movements graceless and mechanical. I asked her where she was headed, but she didn't answer. Her silence was disconcerting, but I reasoned that she was probably in shock or too exhausted to speak. So, I kept driving. The road seemed to stretch on endlessly, winding through the heart of the wilderness. The only sound was the hum of the engine and the occasional rustle of leaves in the wind. I tried to strike up a conversation with the woman in the back seat, asking her about her destination and how she ended up here. But she remained silent, her eyes fixed on some distant point. The unease in the car was palpable. I could feel it in the air, like a weight pressing down on me. The shadows cast by the headlights danced on the trees, creating eerie patterns that seemed to come alive in the darkness. I couldn't shake the feeling that something was terribly wrong. As minutes turned into hours, my unease grew. I couldn't ignore the woman in the back seat any longer. I needed to know more about her, about where she had come from, and why she was out here in the dead of night. I pulled over at the next gas station, a small, dimly lit outpost in the middle of nowhere. As I turned to face her, I was met with a sight that chilled me to the bone. Her eyes, once vacant, were now pools of darkness, devoid of any humanity, and her lips curled into a sinister smile that sent shivers down my spine. I recoiled in horror, my heart pounding in my chest. Before I could react, she lunged at me, her hands like ice as they closed around my throat. I gasped for breath, struggling to free myself from her icy grip. Her laughter echoed in my ears, a chilling sound that seemed to come from the depths of hell itself. As I fought for my life, I caught a glimpse of her face, twisted and contorted with a malevolent glee. It was then that I knew she was no ordinary hitchhiker. There was something profoundly wrong about her, something that defied all logic and reason. With a final desperate surge of strength, I managed to break free from her grasp. I stumbled out of the car, gasping for breath, and watched in terror as she climbed out of the car and disappeared into the night. I knew I had to get away from there, to put as much distance between me and that unholy creature as possible. I jumped back into the car, my hands trembling as I turned the key in the ignition. The engine roared to life, and I sped away from the gas station, the memory of that nightmarish encounter etched into my mind. To this day, I don't know who or what that woman was, but I'll never forget the malevolent darkness that lurked behind her eyes. And if you ever find yourself driving down a lonely highway on a moonless night and see a hitchhiker on the side of the road, think twice before offering a ride. You never know who or what you might be inviting into your car.
And that concludes another chapter of Sinister Diaries. We hope you survived the ordeal and that your nightmares are just beginning. If you enjoyed this tale of terror, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more spine-chilling stories. Remember, the darkness is always watching, so until next time, sleep tight.